Sergio Perez has been crowned King of the Streets by fans, commentators, and journalists alike. Even Christian Horner has acknowledged the alias, expressing that he believes Checo is definitely living up to the nickname. But where has this name come from, and why does he perform better on tight, narrow street circuits? To understand why he's been given this name, we only need to look as far as his win record. Checo has amassed 6 wins over his 12-year Formula 1 career, 5 of which he's achieved since he joined Red Bull Racing in 2021, plus 1 epic win with Racing Point in the Kia Grand Prix in 2020. All 5 of Checo's wins with the Red Bull team have been on street circuits. He's won the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in both 2021 and 2023, Monaco and Singapore in 2022, as well as Saudi Arabia in 2023. We can also look at Checo's qualifying form on street circuits in comparison to his teammate Max Verstappen over the 2021, 22 and 23 seasons so far to see where he outperforms the 2-time world champion. But before we look at his qualifying form, let's quickly take a look at what defines a street circuit. A street circuit uses temporarily closed off roads that otherwise would be open to the public. The best example of this is Monaco, where when F1 isn't there, the roads are being used by normal traffic, and you can even drive the track yourself. There are a few exceptions to this definition, these being Jeddah and Miami, as these are more purpose-built than other tracks, but are still open to the public the rest of the year. In fact, the Miami track is actually in the car park for the Hard Rock Stadium. Street circuits have close walls and little space for mistakes. This puts pressure on the drivers to keep control of the car in every corner, as even a small mistake can be costly. So now we know what makes a street circuit, let's take a look at Sergio's qualifying form, and when we look at this, it quickly becomes clear that he has good pace around the streets. In 2021, F1 raced at 4 street circuits, these being Monaco, Azerbaijan, Russia and Saudi Arabia. Over the 4 qualifying sessions at these circuits, Max beat Sergio in 3, and the only time Sergio did beat Max was in Russia, where Max didn't even put in a flying lap as he wanted to save the car after receiving a penalty for taking a new engine that put him at the back of the grid. In 2022, Checo found his form, and on the 7 street circuits that F1 raced at, he beat Max 4-3, taking his first pole position in Formula 1 at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, and out-qualifying Max in Monaco, Azerbaijan and Singapore. Out of the first 4 races of 2023, 3 have been on street circuits. On these circuits, Max has out-qualified Sergio 2-1, but the last race in Azerbaijan highlighted Sergio's street circuit prowess, as despite being out-qualified by Max in the main qualifying session, he topped Max in the sprint shootout and won the sprint race. When we look back at these records, it becomes clear that Sergio's best performances have come not only from street circuits, but from the street circuits that have closer walls and require more precise judgment from the driver, circuits such as Saudi Arabia, Monaco, Azerbaijan and Singapore. So what is it about Checo that makes him perform so well at these tracks? Is it down to his driving style? Could it be the RB19? Or is it the combination of both? Let's take a look. Sergio's driving style has been rated by many as being light on tyre usage, with him often being dubbed the tyre whisperer by fans. Checo has a really great feel for the tyres and track surface, which could have come from his karting days when he apparently could only purchase and compete with used tyres, due to them being cheaper than new ones, and so he learned how to optimise them to last longer. Take this with a pinch of salt though, as we don't know if it's 100% true. A lot of Checo's advantage during a race on a street circuit is down to his control when exiting corners. His ability to feel the tyres and track surface through the car means he's able to apply the throttle in such a way that keeps the car on the limit, but it's also kind to the rear tyres, avoiding wheel spin and keeping them within a healthy temperature range. This means that Checo can make tyres perform better for longer, allowing him to keep putting in fast sectors with little drop off in tyre performance. We can see Checo's driving style in the telemetry. When comparing 2 similar laps from the sprint shootout, the throttle traces show that Perez is back on the throttle slightly earlier than Verstappen is, giving him that better corner exit through the tighter turns within the second sector of the track. It looks as though Perez gets the throttle down earlier and applies it in a more gentle way, whereas Verstappen puts the throttle down later in the corner exit and applies it faster. We can also see from the delta trace that this is mostly where Perez is faster through the lap. Where the blue line dips below the white line, Verstappen is faster, and when it's above the white line, Perez is faster. To understand why Sergio is able to put the throttle down earlier than Verstappen, we can take a look at the way that the driver set up the RB19 and their preferred characteristics from the car. Checo is a driver that prefers a car with a bit more understeer, whereas his teammate Verstappen prefers more oversteer in his car. This requires a lot of precision, but it's often a faster approach. Checo's setup, due to being less pointy, is more stable, which plays well to the characteristics of the street circuits. These circuits require precision to steer through the corners, but good throttle control coming out of the corners to ensure that the power is put down as fast as possible. This is exactly where both Checo's car setup and driving style merge together to create the perfect street circuit combination. Now, when we analyse the most recent race in Baku, we can see that when Max was in P1 and Checo was in P2, he was able to keep pace with Max, using the DRS to stay with him on the straights and his corner exit skills to follow Max through the tighter sections. As Checo had DRS on Max, he was able to sacrifice some of the time in the corners, allowing him to take them a little bit easier on the tyres and then make back the time on the straights. Because of this, Max was unable to pull away from Checo, and instead was putting a lot of pressure on his tyres, meaning they dropped off earlier. When put in combination with the safety car coming out just as Verstappen has exited the pits, Checo was able to have a much cheaper pit stop in terms of time, giving him an advantage over Verstappen. We also heard Verstappen complaining that he didn't think the car felt very good between entry and mid-corner, meaning he was left wanting more from the setup of the car. We don't know for sure, but Max's suboptimal setup could be put down to the sprint weekend format. With only one practice session in the schedule, Max may not have had enough time to find what really worked for him in the RB19 around the Baku City circuit, whereas Sergio was able to find what worked faster, giving him a more optimal setup for the race. For the rest of the race, Max and Checo were exchanging fastest lap times, showing just how closely they were matched around the circuit. Checo was able to maintain his advantage, and with Max not able to catch, Sergio brought home the race win. So, after analysing both Checo's driving style and the characteristics of the RB19, we can see that it's a combination of his ability to put power down earlier in the corner exit and the understeery setup that he favours that gives Sergio an advantage through tight corners. When these factors are paired with the confidence that Checo has developed after driving a Formula 1 car for 12 years, we can begin to see how he's able to produce some great results at these tracks. While it's definitely possible to dive deeper into the telemetry to uncover even more about Checo's driving style, we hope this video made the reasons behind Sergio's street circuit prowess a bit clearer. We'll have to keep a close eye on the other street circuits in the 2023 season to see if Checo is able to keep his performances up and maintain his crown as king of the streets. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and give us your thoughts on Checo's street circuit pace in the comments below, and as always, make sure to subscribe to Apex for the latest in the F1 world.